Did he like threaten to kill someone? Like, what did he do that was so egregious that you couldn't let him finish out the road trip even?
Yeah, I don't know about that part. Other than apparently that game they played, he made an adjustment. In the words of Jeff Van Gundy, he made a defensive adjustment, which from Chris Paul's side of the story, he said that he just mentioned in the huddle that Kawhi, he was defending Klay Thompson, maybe I think it was, who was going off. And Kawhi, he's not as young as he used to be. He's a great defender, but chasing shooters around screens and stuff isn't like his specialty, especially now at his like limited mobility. So Chris Paul just made like a comment saying like, do we want to look at maybe switching that up? Do we want to put somebody else on Klay? And apparently they made this change amongst the players, but somehow that was not communicated to the coaching staff. I don't know how that happens. But Jeff Van Gundy, who's the defensive coordinator, he called Chris Paul after the game and was like, hey, on that last possession or the last few minutes of the game, did you make an adjustment? Did you switch Kawhi off of Klay? And he's like, no, I just suggested it. We talked about it or whatever. And he was like, well, you might have had that kind of leeway other places in your career, but you don't have that here. And so that's what prompted Chris Paul to tweet or put on his Instagram story the definition of the word leeway. That's when that happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I guess he got a call later that road trip in his hotel room telling him that he had been sent away from the team. So I think it's just Chris Paul being the guy he's been his entire career, which is very active and like, in voicing his opinion, very like assertive. But now he's on a team with not a bunch of young guys who are looking up to him. It's a bunch of like his peers that don't look up to him the same type of way. And also he's not even in the rotation at this point. Or he wasn't at that point for a team that was struggling. So it's probably like a bunch of people rolling their eyes and being like, we don't want to hear from you anymore. But I don't think that it warranted what they did. Honestly,
that's insane to me because one, out of all of the NBA franchises, for Chris Paul to have leeway.
Yeah, it's very true. Mm-hmm.
But also what's even worse is that feels like a thing that Chris Paul would do. Maybe a little bit less kind than it was. Like he might have been a little bit more like, dude, Kawhi, like we need to, might have said it in a little bit more snarky way, whatever. I thought when you started the story, Kawhi got pissy because that just is also very on par for Kawhi. But then you said Van Gundy. I'm like, this is also a very Van Gundy thing to be like, hey, dang it. Hey guy, this is my boat. Stop touching the steering wheel. This is my defense. That's also a very Van Gundy thing to do. He'd probably do that to LeBron. He would do that to everyone.